All right, welcome everyone to Thrive with Ananka, the best podcast that explores wins, struggles, and lessons, featuring real time stories of young individuals who are here to work towards their success. If you're figuring things out and need that push to get you started, this is for you. It's time to thrive, and let's get into the episode. So, today we have a very special guest, a good friend of mine. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Diana. Um,
Why don't you like say
sorry.
like occupation? Let's do
Okay.
occupation and fun fact and
Okay.
age.
Mm, okay. Well, I'm Diana. I'm 23. I work as a veterinary assistant in a veterinary hospital, and I like to crochet.
Awesome. Yes, guys. If so Diana like usually for gifts she'll do like crocheting and it's like the coolest thing ever. So yeah, it's a very, very, very talented skill. So if you guys ever want something from Diana, she'll make some cool crocheting. But yeah, this is Diane, everybody. She's incredible, and I wanted to have her on today's podcast because I feel like she has so many insightful, inspiring, and motivating things to say, even though sometimes you feel like we don't have a lot of those things to say, but I feel like each individual that I have on this podcast has a story to share. And so I feel like the one story that we're going to talk about today is going to be very insightful and, yeah, very empowering. So, kind of just to jump into it, I want to kind of talk about like the early life and influences and just kind of like what's been like a defining childhood memory that really shaped how you see the world today.
Um, Defining childhood memory. Well, I think it's how I was raised. I was raised by immigrants, so I'm kind of like first gen, I guess you could say. And they really raised me to like work hard for what I want and um, basically just appreciate what you have and look forward to what you are working towards.
Mm-hmm. No, I love that. I mean, I also kind of want to like ask you like bouncing off of that first question because I know like being raised by like immigrant parents, like you really learn like the true meaning of hard work and earning things. And so have you feel like that's kind of like helped you towards like your work now and like how like your work ethic is or like your determination, your drive for things? Like how does that impacted that in a sense?
Um, my work ethic, I feel like I definitely feel I put my job first. Like my job is very important to me because obviously I care about my patients. Um, but also I care about, um, basically helping my coworkers too, like helping them out with everything that we have to do during the day. And um, basically, it's not an easy job, I would say. So we really rely on each other to get through the day. And I feel like my parents really taught me how to, you know, um, work together and um, help each other out through tough times and stuff like that. Um, and knowing like you have people to help you out through like tough times and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm.
That's awesome. I mean, what was I going to say? Because I feel like it's really important to, have like those parental figures like in your lives. I know it's really hard because some people can't relate, because they don't have those parental figures to show them, like, hey, like to support them or to be proud of them and, all of that. So I think it's really cool that you have family and, coworkers and friends that are kind of there to help to push you and to also, support you in those hard times, especially now with a lot of things that's going on. I think it's really important to, spread kindness and have those positive influences around you, especially because I feel like that impacts you in a huge way. So I think it's really cool that you have those people around you to push you, to support you and love you. So that's amazing.
Yeah,
um
and
no, go ahead, go
you
ahead.
have you have your family and then you have your chosen family. So like it's
Mm,
really important to have people who support you um, get through stuff.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've gotten a lot of support, like especially like getting into, being like a veterinarian and doing all of those things?
Yeah, I feel like all my coworkers, like, um, we're kind of in the same boat, and so we kind of understand what we're going through throughout the day and stuff like that. So we're good at like checking in on each other and stuff like that, and making sure like we have what we need for every appointment, stuff like that. So yeah, makes the day
Hmm.
go easier.
Yeah, that's good. And I think as like being in your, I guess you could say, I know that we're talking about the present, but also to kind of like reverting back to your, early childhood and like adolescence, like was there like a moment in that early time that you felt like you had to prove yourself?
Well, I actually, yeah, in school, I when I first started school, I didn't know English like at all. So
Hmm.
I kind of had to, they had to put me in a class like to learn English, and I kind of had to, and I was very shy too, so I kind of had to learn how to get out of my shell and like participate in class and um, learn the language. So I kind of, I guess, had to prove myself like that I could do this, like I can, I guess, fit in with the other kids and stuff like that. So yeah. Um, and I mean, my parents did a great job, raising me and making sure I knew like Spanish and stuff like that because I feel like that's important too. So,
Hmm.
um, especially um, in the place where we live, there's a lot of Spanish speakers here. So, I feel like that's important to be able to connect with a different group of people as well.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool. I think it's good because I actually had this conversation the other day with someone at a gym that I go to, and they were talking about kind of like when you're younger, like I don't know if this is with you, because for me, like I think since like obviously we were born in the US and our parents are immigrants, but I feel more connected to like the soil where my parents came from. And I don't know if that's the same with you, because like even though you're born here and like you learn the language and it's hard to learn that because like you're so used to speaking your parents' language and like kind of like embracing their culture, which is also your culture. Do
Mm.
you also feel that where it's like, yeah, like I'm here and like, but it's also kind of like, yeah, like I feel more connected, like I feel more like belonging in the sense of like it's my parents' culture, but it's also my culture, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I do count like my parents' culture as my culture. Like I love my culture, and I love visiting my grandparents and stuff like it's a whole different world over there, but it's still like kind of like a second home, I guess you could
Yeah.
say. Yeah,
Yeah. I think you probably had a lot of, I mean, 'cause have you been to,
yeah.
have you
Since
been?
I was since I was little, um,
Mm-hmm.
I think like since I was a toddler, me and my mom would go, and then
Mm-hmm.
um, once my dad could go, we all went together with my brother and stuff. So we would all go and visit my grandparents and my cousins. Like I have a lot of cousins over there. So we would all go there and just party and uh, eat barbecue and a lot of food and yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I think that's super awesome. And I know we were kind of talking earlier about the challenges, in your adolescence, especially like, like learning, the English language and like having to, prove yourself to kind of fit in, a sense of belonging. Like, can you like walk me through a time, as maybe like not as young as that age per se, but maybe a little bit in where you were in your middle school, high school years, like maybe a time where you like hit a really dark period of your life and like what did you learn from it? How did you overcome those things and bounce back afterwards?
Hmm. Well, I mean, high school was pretty hard for me because I was still shy. Like, obviously, I didn't like, um, I guess I had friends but I didn't stray away from my group, you know, and I guess towards the end of high school, it was hard because it was 2020. So um, we had to go to online learning and stuff like that. So it was kind of hard transitioning to um, like in person, being with all my friends and um, teachers and classmates and stuff like that, to just being online alone in my room. So that was kind of like a dark point because you kind of didn't have that social interaction that you could back then. So it was transitioning from that to, in your house all the time, 24/7, to then breaking out and coming back into the world. That was kind of, I guess you could say, like a shock. Um, and it was hard to adapt back to going back to school and stuff like that because I feel like I didn't really have the attention span or um, the ability to focus again because I was in person and
Hmm.
yeah,
Do you feel like it? Because like I think everyone like because I understand what you're coming from because like
yeah,
I think high school was like a really interesting time, especially like during the COVID era. It's so weird because like you say like COVID era, but like because it was an era and it's just insane that that like happened. But like a lot of people like also dealt with like I guess you could say like the obstacles because like a lot of people that used to be very social, very like are now isolated in their home and they forget how to socialize, they forget how to have those social awareness and like they don't know the cues anymore because we were so like trapped in our homes for like 3 to 4 months. And so I understand where you're coming from because like it's hard, and I think a lot of people also during that time in high school, it's a very prime time where you're discovering yourself and you're figuring your life out, and it's like you're at that age where like okay, like I'm trying to find my palette and try to find where I belong. And so especially when you're isolated in your home during that time, you tend to overthink more than high schoolers normally do. And so it's kind of a time where you have to learn to, it's hard to navigate through that, especially at that age. And so I understand where you're coming from because it was hard for a lot of us, because like
yeah.
that age where you tend to overthink and you're thinking and thinking and thinking, and then you tend to just have that constant cycle of like overthinking where you're at and having second thoughts about where you are in life, and especially with things that are happening in high school, whether it's like friendships or just other things that feel like it matters a lot, but then it's just like okay, it's high school, like it's not that big of a deal. But I think it's definitely a challenge that a lot of people had to face, and I think um, I don't know, like how did you bounce back from that? Like how did you realize, okay, like what do I need to do to overcome this? Like what are the ways that you kind of decided to beat that obstacle when you're going through that time?
Well, during that time, I actually got my first job. I worked at like a pet resort, so I was kind of forced into having to talk to people again and stuff like that. So that kind of brought me out of my shell even more, and having to work with other people as well. And um, I actually got my license too, so I had to drive to and from. So I kind of independentized myself and with that. And so um, it was a hard transition, but I think kind of cold turkeying it was the best for me. Um, I feel like that's what works best for me because I am like adaptable. Like I don't like change, but I can adapt to stuff like that. So, and I feel like even knowing like I wasn't the only one going through that stuff, like it was the entire world.
Hmm.
I feel like that's com- comforting a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that like you were able to bounce back and kind of, start things at a slower pace. But I think that's really cool that you were able to bounce back and figure it all out because it is hard, especially when you're doing it like alone, because sometimes like you feel like, because sometimes people don't really understand, and so especially like when you're alone and trying to figure things out on your own, it can be a little hard, but I think it's really cool because it shows like how much strength you have, as an individual and how much power you do have. So I think that's really cool that you were able to bounce back and get to the place you need to be. So very proud of you for that.
Yay. Thank you.
Yeah. And like during and like during that time, like do you feel like you wanted to like give up or like just say, you know what, like there's really no other option. Did you feel like that? And like what kept you going?
It was definitely hard to like just not to just give up, to not just give up. Um, but I mean, I had to, I guess, make money, you know. Um, so I had to, try and support myself and, um, and look ahead, try to see, uh, blind side myself and see where I'm going, where I want to go, and stuff like that. So, and of course, like my parents, they're always there for me. So, they always told me to keep going and not give up on myself. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'm really proud that, you got to, because for me, like, that's such a huge win. And, like, a lot of people don't acknowledge that. So you should be very proud and acknowledge that win. Because, I mean, I know you're in a good place now. So I think that's really cool that you were able to bounce back and find your way. So that's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah. And I know we talked about our youth and the kind of challenges and that you faced. And now let's talk about like defining moments and successes that you've had, whether it's when you were a little bit younger, even now that we're older and we're kind of seeing those wins come into place. So like I know you were in school before and you were, before school, you were doing that. Now you're doing like all the vet work. So I kind of wanted to ask you, like, what was a small or big decision that you made that ended up changing your life in a big way?
I think going back to the veterinary field because I, in high school, went through the program to be a certified veterinary assistant. Um, and I kind of went back on that, changed my mind. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Um, but then eventually I kind of realized, like, that is what I want to do. So that was kind of a small, big decision that I made is going back to the veterinary field and wanting to help people's, pets because they're not, they're family members to to our clients. So I kind of feel fulfilled when I am able to help them and stuff like that. So I think that was a really big, small, big decision for me is to be able to go back to the veterinary field and grow there and learn from my coworkers and doctors and be able to do that again.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. And I'm assuming, like, obviously, you like what you're doing and you love it. So
I do. I love it.
that's amazing. That's awesome. I mean, I think it's really important to, because I feel like, especially a lot of people think that they have to have something figured out like right then and now, but it's just like it takes so much time for someone to figure out what they want to do. And it can be scary, because you're at an age where there's a lot of pressure because you're so young, but it's just I'm young. Like people forget that I'm young. Like, I'm still trying to figure this out, all right? I don't even know how to file my taxes yet. Like how do you expect me to pick something that I could do for the rest of my life? Because I don't even know how to
Yeah.
file my taxes yet. So it's just like
Yeah.
there's so much pressure on us young adults because they expect us to pick something and to do for the rest of our lives and think that we know everything. But it's like we don't because we're still trying to process things that we're still healing from or going through. I mean, I'm still trying to process the whole COVID situation, because I came out of there like forgetting how to talk to people. That was really hard, So it's just, there's a lot of things that a lot of us are still trying to deal with. And so, and there's a lot of pressure, especially with like what you want to do with your life. It can be scary because you feel like you're going to choose the wrong path or someone's telling you, oh, just do this because it's the safer option. But sometimes you're like, you know what? Like, what if I don't want to play it safe? And what if I want to go against the norms? And so I
Hmm.
think it's good that, you took the time to understand what you wanted to do and you're like, okay, like, I'm just gonna like full send and do this. Like even it might be scary, but obviously you love what you're doing now, and I think that's awesome. Because a lot of people they just pick a job because they're told to, and they just work like the rest of their lives just unhappy, and then they regret not being able to spend the time to like take those 3 years to be like, okay, let me try this and this and this and this. Okay, now I know what I want to do. Whereas you just pick it and just go. So, like I said, I think it's really cool that you spend so much time trying to figure out what you love. And I think the most important thing is just loving what you do. Because, like, people focus so much on profit and money. And, like, money is everywhere. Like, there's endless opportunities to make money, but your happiness is the most important thing. And so I think it's really awesome that you found your outlet and you just feel connected to that. So I think that's really awesome that you found that. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I kind of want to talk about like, 'cause I know you're 23. So how does it feel being 23? What have you learned being spending these 3 years in your 20s? Like, what's like a breakout moment in your journey in your 20s?
Um, I think trying to figure out like because I'm still like trying to figure out who I am and stuff like that. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
still trying to I mean, I'm independent in some ways, I'm not independent in other ways. So, um I feel like, you know, there's a certain norm when you turn 18, you're supposed to head off and move out and stuff like that, but you know, not many people are able to do that during this time. So, um it's um
No, you're okay.
um it's not easy,
Hmm.
um but I know like I'm not the only one in that boat. So, uh, yeah,
No, yeah. I mean, because yeah, I 100% agree with you. Because people are like, oh, like you gotta move out when you're 18, but it's just like I just got a job, like you know what I mean, or I just started driving, and it's just like that same pressure from other people, like because for me, like I don't plan on moving out till I'm like maybe 24 or 25 because like I said, like I'm still trying to establish myself and like, and there's no rush. And I feel like people there's like a bad rap when it comes to like, oh, you're 23, like why are you living with your parents still? And it's just like, do you not understand like our economy? Like where am I gonna go? And like the job market is also insane because like like people don't have jobs or they're too qualified or it's just there's a lot of really there's a huge shift in a lot of things in our society and our economy. And so when people say like you have to move out when you're this age or you have to do this, but it's just like we're still trying to figure things out and we're still trying to just live our age and enjoy our age, because being 23, like you're still young and it's just like you're expected to do so many things, but like you shouldn't be expected to do things. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like just work your job, have fun, like live your 20s and it's good to also hustle and work too, but like, don't burn yourself out and let that noise like feed into yourself because then it's just kind of like it's not good over time. And so I really agree with you saying that yeah, like I'm just trying to figure things out and I'm just living my life day by day. And that's just how you should be. You're not going to have everything planned out in one day. Like that plan's going to change tomorrow, next month. And you're going to be like, you know what? I don't want to do any of that. I want to do something else. And it's okay because you're human and you're figuring your shit out and it's fine. So I think it's
yeah.
really important that a lot of people know that because I feel like it's really hard for people to, I guess it's really hard on people because people think that they have to do all of these things and you don't, like, you really don't. Like, if
There
anything,
is
you're
a
just
lot of
gonna, yeah,
societal pressure with
yeah,
people, like especially young, as young as us, like um, in the previous generation, they had stuff figured out, or supposedly they had stuff figured out, and they our societal pressure is just um, wanting us to basically do what they want us to do, and I feel like we're pretty good. People our age we're pretty good at trying to you know stray away from that and do what we want to do and what we believe in and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I had a conversation the other day with someone about like Gen Z culture and how it's so different because like, I think for me, like personally, I like it because like my mom was saying the other day how like when she was my age, like she wasn't vocal about a lot of things or she never was able to give her opinion. And so like she says that she likes how there's a huge shift in that because like you see Gen Z people like going to like the freaking Capitol and they're over here like saying a bunch of stuff that like you would never think someone, but it's just like they don't understand that like there's so many people out there that are so intelligent, like young people are so intelligent, they know a lot of stuff, they're knowledgeable, and we get like a bad rap for a lot of things because oh you're young, like but it's just like no, like put
Yeah.
these people in these places, put these people here because like we really have a lot to offer and we know our value, and I think people should see that. And so I think it's really cool that we're kind of stepping in to something that we're kind of like just breaking that barrier that people have built before us. And I think it's really cool that we're stepping in and breaking that and changing the way that people think and changing the way that people say things and believe in. So I think it's really cool that we're doing all those things because it really does impact society in a good way. And I feel like society is being saved right now, low key, by the young people because we're trying to change the way that people have put these things in
Yeah.
place. And so I think it's
Oh,
really important that we're doing that.
yeah. I like what you said is that we know our worth.
Yeah.
Definitely. We know our worth. We know we're not like gonna stoop to, other people's level, and we're gonna do, what we think is best for us. So,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
for the world, obviously.
Yes. 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 And I know there's a lot going on right now. It's
Oh
really
yeah.
hard to ignore because because that's the kind of for me like it's like for me like because I'm reading all these things and the thing is like I feel like I've been because I've never allowed myself to like dissolve the information because when you're like oh like I know everything, I don't have to know these things, but it's really important to like educate yourself on things. And like at the time last year I didn't feel like I needed to do any of that, but I think like starting I think it was last November and like currently in March I've been like reading and learning so many things because like there's so much uh you know, there's a little bit bad more than good right now. And so I think it's really important to just educate yourself and learn these things regardless, even if it doesn't affect you or not. Like, it's just so important to learn because your words or just one simple, like, thing can help someone or something. And so, I don't know, like, how do you feel about I know it's kind of like a topic-y, but like I really want to talk about stuff like that because I feel like it's so important. Like, how do you feel about the things that are going on? And like, you don't have to like get in specifics if you don't want to, but it's entirely up to you how you want to word it.
Yeah. I mean, hmm, how can I say this? Um, I mean, it's definitely frustrating seeing, stuff online. It can be very, uh, I guess you could say depressing, and it can put you in a very dark place. And I think it's best to just not like stay in your head and stuff like that, live in real life because internet is, the internet is very, there's a lot of stuff going on in the internet. So it's very easy to just dig yourself in a hole and not realize like, the internet's separate from real life. Like your everyday life is not, what's going on the internet. And obviously pay attention to what's going on because the news and stuff and it is important to educate yourself and know what's going on, be aware of what's going on, not just in our country but like everywhere else. And it is important to also like put yourself in other people's shoes and realize it's not just me. There's other people going through other stuff. And um, we're all human, and I think it's best if we just remember that and try and connect with each other. So,
I love that. No, yeah, there's just I like how you said that because it's hard because you see a lot of bad more than good, but just finding the positive in those dark times and kind of just being around your loved ones and being around the people that uplift you and just are trying to make a difference is like really it's a very much of a beautiful thing. So I like how you worded that. I think that's really cool because it is hard like to see that first thing in the morning you go on your phone, you're just like, "Oh my God, like what is going on?" And it's really hard to ignore those things, but I think if we continue to spread a lot of positivity and kindness into our world, like I think it's going to help little by little, day by day. So I like how you worded that. So yeah, that's awesome.
yeah. And it's
Yeah.
always important not to make assumptions, of course, and
Mm-hmm.
try to not judge a book by its cover, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's important that we respect each other and stay civil.
Yes, yes, world peace. We
Yeah,
need to be kinder to everyone. And
yeah.
I feel like that goes a long way because I was telling my mother the other day, I was telling her that like they I think they want us to be so separated because they know that if we're separated, because they say great minds think alike. So, if we're together, united as one, like they know that we can make a difference in the world and even like here. And so like that's just the sad thing. Like they all just want us to be separated. And they know that if we unite and we actually be kind to people and we put the shit to the side, like whatever, like who cares? And you actually converse with people and connect with people and you realize, you know what, like we might have a lot more in common than I didn't think we would have. And it's just putting your stuff and your whatever to the side and just connecting with people and uniting is like the most important thing because that is a really powerful thing. And I feel like people need to understand that just be kind to people and just be nice and that just goes a long way. So,
Yep, it really
hmm
does.
hmm yeah. So, I know we talked about, you know, our defining moments and successes, and I think you shared a lot of very insightful and incredible things. And so I want to kind of go into our last topic, which is reflections in your identity. I know we talked about kind of, like being in your 20s, a time where like you're discovering yourself and trying to figure out, okay, like who am I and where do I want to be? Like how do I define myself? And so if you could talk to your younger self and during a tough time, what would you tell them?
Um, um, oh, my parents are gonna love this. Definitely listen to your parents. You know, they've been through this already, so they already know, what you're not essentially what exactly you're going through, but um, what life is, what you could do and what you have to look forward to. Um, and it gets better.
Hmm
Um, you just have to push through.
hmm No, for sure. I mean, for no, seriously, because like I feel like mothers have the best intuition,
Oh,
and no
yeah.
matter how many times you try to say like no, 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 like they know because they went through it, and they just have that motherly like power. They just know everything, and you're like,
Hmm.
because it's like for example, like you bring a friend around and your mom's like, "Oh, I don't like them," and you're like, "Mom," but at the end of the day, like they're literally right because then something happens, and your mom's like, "What did I tell you?" And it's just like, "How did you know that?" And then they just know. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's really interesting, and it's honestly like really cool because your parents just want to look out for you and they want the best for their kid, and sometimes like we don't see that because we think that we know everything. We're at that age where it's just like, oh no, like I know, and like no, like you don't understand, but it's like they do because they lived our age at one point, and maybe it was a little bit different for them, but they understand that. So, I love that you said listen to your parents because like I know sometimes like even I was a little hard headed when I was younger, but when I learned that to listen to my parents and listen to the advice they would give me, like it's really important because a lot of people don't have parents to give them the guidance or advice. They just kind of have to go and just do it. But if you do have those parents that love you and care about you and want you to like have a good life, like listen to them because they ultimately want the best for you. Like they're not trying to be controlling, they're not trying to like, like strip you of your freedom. Like no, they just want you to think a little bit about your decisions and because that ultimately will impact how, you know, when you get older and make your own decisions and live your life by your own and so I think it's really cool that you said that because I feel like a lot of people need to realize that their parents just love them and I know they can be overprotective but it's just because they care and they just
Yeah.
want us to do well so yeah and um I know I could have like mentioned this earlier but like I know you talked about like during that self tough time where like you want to listen to your parents and everything and I kind of wanted to also mention like maybe during I don't even know if this is now if you've been dealing with this now or maybe before high school but is there a part of your journey right now being young that people misunderstood you like you feel like you've been misunderstood and like what are some things that you wish they would have understood better wish that they would have knew.
um, I definitely feel like I can come off as standoffish sometimes. So I think I w- I wish people would know like I'm like if you need something, I'll be there. But you know, um, and I think yeah, I think people uh I don't really vibe with people at first, and I think it's kind of hard for me to connect with people and be able to, just click right then and there. I think it takes me a little bit longer, but eventually I'll come out of my shell and you know um, have a great old time with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think people, um, like I said before, make assumptions. So I feel like you need to give some people some time to be able to, grow with you and stuff like that. So just give people time.
Yeah, no for sure I feel like because some like because what you were saying earlier, like don't judge people like a book by its cover. Because there's some people that may look very cold and standoffish, as you were saying, but they really are the complete opposite. It's just that people they make assumptions too soon and they don't actually get to take time to, like how you said, time, to understand the person and where they're coming from. And so I feel like people just judge too quickly and they assume too quickly. But like these people are the complete opposite. Like they want to be your friend, they want to talk, they're very sweet, they're very shy. And so I know like it sucks because like you want people to know these things and it's just people have already made their decision in their mind like oh no like this is how they are but they've never given the opportunity to actually get to know you and
Yeah.
I think it's really beautiful when you find those people even if it's like as I always say like I always tell people like five friends is better than 1,000 because those five friends are going to be with you for like the rest of your life because those are people that truly love you for who you are and they accept you. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing to have because it's so hard to find, not hard, but it could be a little difficult at times to find those real, authentic people that just love to be around you and they love, your quirkiness and they just love your personality and love you for who you are, because there's a lot of people who can be inauthentic and they're not honest and so I think it's really beautiful when you find those people that are like, oh, like these are my people. Like, okay, like yeah, I have three friends, but they they love me and they care about me and I know that they're gonna be here with me for everything and anything. So I think that's so beautiful. And no, yeah, I remember when I first met you, I remember we didn't talk as much because me and Diana, we did volunteer work at Keystone, Parks and Recreation. We were LITs, like leaders in training. Um, and we volunteered that summer, like the whole entire summer. And I remember I didn't talk to Diana as much. And like I knew you were really shy because I also because like my sister's really shy, so I was just like, okay, maybe like I understood a little bit because my sister can get very like not talkative because usually it takes her a lot talk to somebody and open up. It takes her a little bit, so I understand like where you're coming from because like you can't expect someone to just open up quickly and then like spill all my secrets. Like no, like some people
Yeah,
just it
not
takes them a
everyone's
little
like
bit more.
that.
Yeah, it just takes some people some time to just get comfortable and get, like they adapt to who this person is. Like, okay, like it's not too bad. I like their vibe. And after like our friend group kind of like all reunited and now like it's wonderful because it's really great to have, everyone has different personalities. It's really funny because everyone has different personalities, but it's nice because it's a nice blend and it's really great. And like, even though Diane and I don't talk all the time, I know that when we hang out with our friend group, like it's really nice. And so like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like your presence is very calm and it's nice. It's very like ease. Because you have like, I don't know, because every time like we hang out in a group, setting like it's very calming, like it's like when you're
Yeah.
near somebody, it's like, oh, like I like how I feel next to this person. It's very like tame and calm and I feel really nice, and I feel like that's
Hmm.
how you should feel around the friends that you have. Like if you feel very stressed or on edge, or just you feel a really weird shift in your energy, like there's something's telling you that you're not maybe around the right people. But when you're around somebody that makes you feel like, oh, I can tell this person anything, because I'm always yapping to you about everything. But like, so it's nice that we can have those people around us to calm us and to kind of put us back into alignment. So I feel like that's how I feel like when I'm around you. I'm always like, oh, it's very nice and calm and at ease, and
Yeah.
so
And I feel like some people aren't like comfortable with silence, and like
yeah,
I'm not a big talker. I'll listen, like I'm a big listener, I guess you could say. Like I love listening to people, and of course I'll talk, to my friends and stuff like that, but I guess I just don't have much to say.
yeah,
But I feel like people aren't comfortable with silence, and I feel like what I look for in a friend is someone who can be there for me and like sure we can laugh and uh have fun and party and like hang out and stuff like that, but we can also just chill and be there next to each other and just sit there in silence.
yeah.
As awkward as that sounds, it's very comforting to be able to do that with someone.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like, yeah, like how you were saying, like people just they want you to talk all the time, but it's just like I just want to sit here, like it's like when you're on FaceTime with somebody and you're like do the dishes and someone's like watching TV, but like you guys are on the phone, but it's just like you're doing your own thing. Like I like that because you
Hmm.
just enjoy their company. As you were saying, it's nice to enjoy their company because you know that like it doesn't all have to be talking and going out and doing all this stuff because like it's simply just loving the company of one another, and I think that's really beautiful. So I like how you said that because a lot of times people will say, well, why aren't you talking or why aren't you this, but it's just like I don't want to talk, like I just want to listen, or I want to sit here and look at the sky and eat my ice cream, like so I think I love how you said that because I've also like experienced that as well, where I just want to sit and like look at the water and they think it's boring or like I don't want to do this. I'm just like, okay, well, this is me, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna put on a show for you and entertain you, like.
Yeah.
So,
Have
I like
you
how you said that.
have you been to the zoo?
Yes.
Okay. So the manatee area?
Mm-hmm.
I could like sit there for hours and just watch them. Like in silence. Like I could just sit there for hours because they're so cute and it's just so tranquil, like watching them swim
Mm,
around and because they're like not even fast. They're just, floating around, not a care in the
yeah,
world.
I love that. No, that's awesome. And like, it's just kind of like how you were saying earlier. It's just like finding those right people around you because seriously, like I've gotten like, for example, I'll give you a quick like example. So this was like a old friend that I don't speak to. But I remember we went to go get ice cream, and there was constellations forming in the sky, and I used to be really obsessed with like space and stuff when I was younger. And like I remember I used to like know all the names of the constellations. I had the app on my phone and everything. And so I was like, "Oh my God, like I wonder if my app can pick this up." So I was like taking a picture, but then my app couldn't pick it up because the lighting was dark on the iPhone setting, whatever. And so then she was like, "Oh, like why can't we just talk?" And I'm like, "We already talked for the last like 2 hours. Like I kind of want to just sit here and enjoy the breeze and look at the stars because it was really cool." And And she was like, "Oh, like this is lame." And I'm like, "Well, why is it lame?" You know, because then you kind of like feel like, "Oh, like you kind of feel like, oh, like I'm lame, like oh, this is lame."
Yeah.
And I told her, "Well, I like this stuff," and like I told her, like, "Oh, I'm not a robot. Like I'm not gonna talk all the time. Like I'm like my social battery is already dead. Like I just kind of just want to sit here and and enjoy the sky, the stars, and like look at the waves or whatever. Just eat and like then like when I'm ready to talk again, I'll talk." And so I've had like countless experiences like that, and it just kind of tells me that okay, like maybe they don't understand. Maybe they just don't align with what I'm trying to find in a friend. Um, and then yeah, and now like when you find those right people, you're just like, oh, okay, this is nice. Like they like the silence, and okay, cool. And like, how you mentioned like the manatee, like I consider myself one because I just want to just float and just relax. Like like not everything is go 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 and talking
Yeah.
and like, I don't know. Do you get overwhelmed in like big crowds? Because I sometimes get overwhelmed in big crowds,
Yeah. Yeah.
like in those
I
very
mean,
loud spaces.
yes, it is hard out here for introverts, you know. But yeah, I definitely can get overwhelmed with like loud noises, people everywhere. Like I need you to back up, you know. Um, but it's also like don't feel ashamed about your like social battery dying. Like everyone needs to recharge. Um, and I mean, some people don't, but you know, some people do, and so it's not wrong to want time for yourself and stuff like that. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
it's always important to put yourself first and your mental health first. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
For sure. I love that. I love that. All right, so now we're heading towards the ending of our episode, and oh my gosh, we've had like really good conversations. And honestly, like I'm learning things that I haven't learned at all from you. So I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool. I'm learning these things about you. So I think that's really awesome. So looking ahead, what is something that you're still working on with yourself, like even now?
I think my motivation and like commitment to things. Um, you know, I didn't finish school, like college and stuff like that, so I'm definitely working towards being able to do that. Um, because I do want to get my CBT license. So I want to be able to commit to that and have motivation for that. And um, yeah, and even motivation to take care of myself. I feel like that's very important, physically and mentally.
Mhm. I love that. No, yeah, mental health is super important. I feel like we put everything first and that's just last, so it's really important to focus on your mental health and just take the time off. And like I'm so glad you got 5 days off, by the way, because I know you're working hard. Like every time we ask Diana, let's hang out, and like she's always working, and it's good that you're working. And we're I'm always like, dang, like Diana works again, because like we always want to do stuff with her and she's
I
working all the
know.
time. But I understand that you're just trying to you know establish yourself, and so I know that's really important. So I'm really glad though that you got some time to spend time with family, eat good, rest, because like honestly, like we have to dedicate at least some time in the week or the month to just be like, you know what, I'm not gonna do anything, I'm just gonna put myself first, because I sometimes we like find ourselves putting ourselves last and we're putting everything first. And so I think it's really cool that you're trying to find those ways to, just focus on your mental health and focus on your overall health. Because they say, like, if your mental health is not okay, it affects, every other area. And so, you may not be able to function well or, move along your day because, you're not feeling great, you're not feeling sad. And I think it's also like awareness. Like, if you feel like something is wrong, like don't ignore it. I tell my friends that all the time. Like don't like if you feel like you're pissed about something, please tell me and we'll talk about it. If not, we'll do something else. Let's go somewhere more quiet. If you're sad, we can cry it out. We can go do something. Like don't ignore your feelings cuz like just bottling it all up and then just taking that with you as you move along your life is just going to be so bad for you when you get older because then you have those explosive moments or you don't know how to manage your emotions and have like those emotional regulations. So I think it's really important to just put your mental health first and take the time to cry, throw a plate on the wall. I don't know what, however you deal with your mental health, like just deal with it the correct way and just take the time to understand yourself and just be more kinder to yourself. Because I feel like sometimes we can be really harsh to ourselves and we feel like we're not doing enough or we're not to where we want ourselves to be, but like we really don't know. Life has things planned for all of us, and we maybe have a plan that's planned for ourselves, and maybe life is like, you know what, scratch that, I have something better for you, but like be patient with me. Don't be, mean to yourself, and just love yourself and believe in yourself and just be kind. And like if you have that good connection with yourself to be kind and love yourself, like you'll go very far. So I think it's really important just be happy with yourself and be kind to yourself because ultimately like you are with you at the end of the day. And so if you're not in your best state, like it's very important to like work on that quickly and be like, what can I do to be better? What can I do to, maybe not stress out? What can I do to just be better overall mentally? Because ultimately, like, you don't want to live your life with having those explosive, moments and just not being able to control and, be aligned mentally. So I know it was just yapping, but it's really important. Your
No,
mental health is very
it's
important.
very
So,
important. Yeah, putting yourself first and, like you said, not bottling things up. That will not end well. Because you just pile everything on and eventually it's just going to collapse and that's not good for you. So it's definitely
mhm.
important to learn better habits on expressing yourself and stuff like that. Um, and because that's going to stick with you uh, as you age. And of course, that affects people around you. So it's
Mhm.
just important to take care of yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And okay, well, last thing, what is I know for all the viewers here, a lot of our viewers are like usually like in their 20s. So I think it's great because I know you've had your experiences and your lessons learned, and there's things that you're still learning, and what is one message that you want to leave to someone or to the people watching this episode that you want to give them?
Hmm. I think I want to tell them to not be hard on yourself. As much as you want to just push and push, I think sometimes you just have to pause and take a breath and reevaluate what you're doing and make sure, what you're doing is what you want to do and um, be sure of yourself.
I love that. That's awesome. No, seriously, like I think it's really good that you said that because some people they need that reassurance, they need someone to just tell them, "Hey, like you're doing just fine." Like even if you see someone on Instagram like I make 100K a month and blah, like it's just you don't need to compare yourself to those people. Like
Yeah.
as long as you love what you do and you're being patient and you're just taking life day by day, like you will be fine. Because like I always tell everyone, like everybody has their own timeline. Like people may accomplish things faster than you do, but it's because you have a different goal in place. Like don't feel like, oh my gosh, like it's taking forever. I feel like I'm never gonna get to this place. Like no, like don't feel discouraged, especially with all that social media stuff. Don't feel discouraged. Like that's just a way to just get in your head. Because everyone's posting and flexing, and it's just like it doesn't it's not good for you, especially for your mental health. It's not good either. So I think it's really important that you said that to just trust the process, just be easy on yourself, and just enjoy the ride that life is giving us. So
Yep.
yeah. Well, Diana, thank you so much for hopping on this podcast. I really do appreciate your time. I feel like you've shared so many insightful and inspiring things. I mean, every time I go on an episode with someone, I'm always learning things that I've never, knew before. So I think I've taken and learned things from what you said on this episode. So I really do appreciate all the kind words you've said, all of the really important things that you stated because I think it's really important. I love hearing people's stories and hearing what they have to say because everyone has something beautiful to share. So I really do appreciate your time to just hop on here and talk about everything. So I really do appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. When you text me, I was like, what? You want me to talk? Like, you want to hear what I have to say? So I really appreciate that. And I love watching your podcast and seeing other people's point of views. So I think it's very important to have that, to have other people's point of
Hmm. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, thank you so much again for hopping on. And for anyone that feels like they're struggling, they need that reassurance, the boost for the motivation and their drive. I mean, this is the podcast. I mean, the biggest goal is to just get, people's stories and to share their insights on their journey, being in their 20s. I think it's really beautiful that we're able to build a community of people that want to, hear other individuals like themselves, their age range, trying to navigate life, but also enjoying those beautiful experiences along the way. So if anyone's struggling, you need to push a boost, anything, this is the podcast to be. We post everything on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Full videos are out every Wednesday, audio on Spotify, and full YouTube videos will be out every Wednesday as well. As always, this was Diana. Thank you so much for hopping on. This is Thriving with Ananka, and as always, take care, stay safe, be kind, and have a great rest of your day, night, wherever it is that you're listening to in the world. And yeah, thank you so much, guys. Bye.